welcome back to Whitt Acres. It's week 17 and we're going to take a stroll around the gardens to see what's blooming and see if any food is left out there at this time of year. It's September 9th now and the temperature's starting to cool off. We've had some rain come through today, so it might come through a little bit later as well. So we're going to try and make this quick. Let's go. Coming down to the garden, we can see that there's a couple new things out here. This is a Rising Sun Redbud, and this is a Black Tower Elderberry. They're both going to get around 10 to 15 feet tall, and they're going to fill in this little space here, which I'm trying to kind of block off the garden a little bit. Oh, hey pup. You got a ball, bud? Go! So I'm going to try and block off this area here and make an entryway for the garden. Maybe put an archway in here to a gate to get into the garden. I want to fence in the garden a little bit differently than it is already. Pollinator patch with the zinnias still going strong. Elephant ear getting pretty big now. But yeah, there'd be a fence here and more plants, and then I'd work my way into the garden. And you can see I got all the mulch spread out around the new raised beds. It's looking pretty nice. This fennel is blooming fiercely. It's huge. I don't even know how many fennel are in there, but I'm leaving it go for the pollinators. I got some more ground cherries down here. We have yet to make the pie, but I did pick a bunch of them and we're ready for it. A ton of cherry tomatoes and yellow pear tomatoes are down there. I ripped all the yellow pear out, the whole plant, because it was just ridiculous. Took up that whole area and it was just unnecessary, really. But I got some beets coming in here still. I pulled out some bigger ones already and I'm letting these ones go because I multi-sowed them. Got plenty of tomatoes and more coming. And the nasturtium I plugged in here is still looking good. It's got nice fiery orange blooms. More ground cherries over here, and I have some leeks. These leeks ready? I'll have to check. Those leeks might be ready. I have some more leeks coming in here. And then you can see all those yellow pear tomatoes. Way too many came on that plant. My ground cherries took over the zucchini and squash, so I pulled those out as well. I got this bed pretty much cleaned out except for some carrots and basil and some more carrots. But you can see the vegetable garden's gone to the weeds. And pulled a giant pepper off of that plant laying down over there. I'll try and see if I can show you that later. It's up on the patio now, but still got more bell peppers in here. Plenty coming. We got a big, looks like a nice big eggplant in there yet. So I did have that the same way. Oh, I have another eggplant in there too. 3 of them. Oh, I should harvest those. Try and remember to grab those eggplant. Even another little one still coming. A puppy. Food. Speaking of food, look at this chard. This chard's going crazy. It's a jungle now. I'm gonna leave this go. I'll probably harvest some off of this, clean up the leaves a little bit. And there's that squash or that other cabbage beetle. That's a bad bug. Yeah, it's sitting on my kale, which I'll try and get that kale through into the winter as far as I can get it. I'll be ripping this gherkin out. I might try and make quick pickles with these if I have time. I did harvest enough for that. These gherkins have been getting big. Look at some of these. Some of these got pretty big. Still good though. As long as they don't start turning yellow. They really lose their flavor if they get a yellow tinge. If you guys are just joining us, that is the 100-some foot squash mound, and we got that harvested the other day, or last week. And there's still actually some in there. I noticed the pumpkin still growing over there on the end, and that one rotted off, so I just left it there and pulled it out a little bit so I could still see it and appreciate it. But look at this Royal Empress. Yeah, that's all one season of growth. Cut that thing down to the stump this year and it put on one big stalk. So that is awesome. The island's still looking good with the zinnias. I gotta remember next year to plant more zinnias because they are just going long into the season. You also got that scarlet runner bean that just won't stop. I started just dropping gourds and pumpkins different places to add the orange color, and I don't know, I like it, so that's where they're gonna go. Come down through the path, you can see the zinnias are the ones still showing some color. This is a variegated salmon, and it's blooming. It's just not very showy because it kind of blooms under its variegated foliage. I have another one over here. At least I did. Yeah, I don't know where it went. It might have died off. But the zinnias took over, added some color here. We got a hosta back there. That's an Empress Wu hosta that's blooming right there in the purple. Coleus is looking good, shooting up with his flowers and blooming. And a variegated liriope back there. She's blooming too. You gotta watch when you order or just pick up Japanese maples. A lot of time they're not on their original rootstock, so you'll get the rootstock shooting off some growth below the graft. So you want to go ahead and pull those off so you get your true blood good Japanese maple in this case. Behind that is my abelia, and she's still blooming this year even though the weeds are kind of taking over. Got one little daisy struggling through, and the firelight or quick fire hydrangea is just turning red now, kind of dying off pink. In the food forest, I did not end up getting any of my raspberries. Something came over and chewed them all off, so maybe next year. This volunteer gourd really took over the area. You can see, even if you have a short season, these gourds love to grow, and you just give them a little bit of time, they'll do their best. The sweet potato bed, I guess, is a big failure this year. I will wait until the first frost, and then I'm going to dig up those two little patches and see if I have one sweet potato. Maybe I have two. I'll try, but I'm going to wait for the first frost because that's supposed to give them a better flavor. Again, another patch of zinnias, doing amazing. Got the butterflies on her. Gorgeous. Need more zinnias next year. I will be saving these seeds, so once these heads start to die back, kind of like this, a little bit more. There, that's a prime specimen right there. You can just, well, not really because it just rained. So if you grab that and dry it out, you'll be able to pull these little seeds. That's what a zinnia seed is. So you'll be able to dry that head out and save all those seeds for next year. The ochre strip here is doing still good, putting on ochre every single day. And beautiful flowers as well. I don't see any flowers right now, but it's not the best day. It's just kind of in and out with the sun and a lot of rain. Still have some calendula or calendula, however you want to say it, still blooming out here, which that should last fairly long into the first frost and cold weather we have. It's a hardy plant. I do have some Malabar spinach. It's not a true spinach, but I can use these leaves as a spinach supplement, which will be nice. It's finally growing. It took forever, honestly, but if it wants to start growing in the fall, and we'll see how far we can get her into the winter. I spy a little strawberry. Not a big one, but strawberry nonetheless. Ooh, well, that was a sweet one. That was really sweet, actually. There's another one, half eaten. Look at that. See, I can't win. Even have bird netting on it, and something else is eating it, but I'll share. Can't beat those. Those are the best strawberries I've ever had. Got some good green onions here, ready to go for salads and dinners and breakfast, dinner, lunch. You can use onions on everything. My potatoes, the little patch I left from our harvest before, is dying back now, and it looks like I should be able to harvest these. So I'll probably be pulling these out this weekend. We have a lot of other stuff to be doing though, so I'll try and get to them. Big patch of wild tomatoes here. I just left them go crazy, sprawling out, so you can see we lost a good many, but I think we got just as many good ones. It's a good tomato. So yeah, we're still getting good food out here. More tomatoes. Plenty of that yellow pear. Anybody want yellow pear tomatoes? They're just prolific. Pollinator patches really are doing well now. The zinnias and the marigolds. These marigolds are right where you want them for seed harvesting too. Once they bend that neck over, they're prime. Now, like I said, it just rained, so like this is really not the time. But yeah, the seeds are all in there, so you'd want to pick this at a non-wet time. After like 2 days of dryness would be better, and then you can save those seeds for next year. This nectarine tree is doing amazing. We did get some wind come through here last night, and looks like we got a split, rather big split actually. So yeah, nice big arm. Have to come out here with the pruners and take care of that. More pretty flowers. I need to pick some of these Rutgers tomatoes before they go bad. We keep getting rain and they're all nice and red, ready to go. I don't want them popping out, all splitting like this one. See, that's what happens when you don't pick your tomatoes in time. When you got a ton. Oh, another one split. Definitely some in here that aren't split. That's not one of them. Maybe over here. Nope, split. There we go. That's a good one. Poppy, what are you doing? Poppy's over by the early girls. You can see I lost some in the wind. And it looks like I got a rabbit eating up on my cabbage. This was just a decorative cabbage, but I was still hoping it would head up. But nope, the animals got it before I did. Got an itch pop. The sedum's blooming under the poplar tree. I thought I bought 4 of these red sedums, but 2 of them came pink. The other one's more red. I already had pink. I wanted red, but oh well. I really need to mulch this area. Can't really see any of this stuff in here. There's daisies, impatiens. I don't even remember what that one is. But there's grass in here. It's a rainbow lacotho. That's why I gotta leave tags on things. So, rainbow lacotho out here. Can't even see it. Got a mulch at. The dahlia bed's got some color. Reds and yellows in there, and a late blooming gladiola. Very nice. But yeah, I had higher hopes for the dahlia bed. I was really hoping I could get some purples in there, and I think I had some oranges planned out, but nope, just the red and yellow. Started spreading out some gourds out here just for some color. I just like to see them laying around. The pergola's filling out nicely. Got the whole ceiling covered now. Nice and green in here. We got some more gourds coming. That one's got blossom end rot. We got some other ones coming. That one got stuck up there. Usually try and get them down. We got some apples. Got some dipper gourds. More dipper gourds. Bunch of apples this year. I love seeing these hanging. Got some buddies there. Got one hanging real low here. Get a view of this. Up up. Got my hammock hanging in here. Come in here and sit. Swing around with the gourds. We got this real chubby one. Look how chubby this looks. That's an adorable birdhouse. Same with that one. Those are going to be nice. You can see these marks on it. That's from the cucumber beetle. A little yellow ladybug looking beetle. They like to chew on the skin of the gourds. But they'll make it through. Got enough hanging in there. I'm not really going to cut these down and put them anywhere. These are kind of made to be decoration on the pergola for fall, so I'm going to leave them hang. But there will be a point where they start to fall on their own once they start drying out, and I'll have to cut them down at that point, because if they fall on their own, they're pretty heavy. They hit the ground, a lot of them split right when they hit the ground, so I don't want that. I do dry them out. The ones that get big enough, I'll dry them out over the winter, and then I'll wash them up, carve them up, and make them into birdhouses, just like this one. Homemade birdhouse, and it was occupied this year and made some baby birds. Out here's the silver lace vine, looking real good on that arch. Gourd really taking over the top of it. I should get up there and cut that back because the silver lace looks better. I don't know. You tell me what you think down below. Let it go wild or prune it back up. I like that little pathway. That little pumpkin brings you out here to my pumpkins on a stick that are just looking more vibrant every day. I am going to be cutting these soon. I might do a fall arrangement video and just do a nice big fall arrangement with the different things I have available this fall. We'll head out to the nursery real quick so I can show you what we got in the holding area. So we're out here in the nursery. See, it's pretty weedy with some pokeweed right now. I got to get in there with a whacker. We got some wild amaranth coming up in there as well. Sticking up there, if you can pick out the leaf. That long one right there, that's a black willow. It's doing real good. And then we got some, what was this? Golden cypress, gold rider Leland cypress. Got a few of those in there, and some other arborvitaes and hemlock. So we got big plans for the future of this property, and the plans are to plant it out. So we got some barberry down here, boxwood and waiting. We got a tulip poplar because I love that leaf. And then we got a big row here of 13 Norway spruce that are all planned out in the property. So make sure you stick around because we got big plans for this place. Just noticed out by the road here, my Weigela, whatever, my Weigela, it's blooming out here. So this must be a re-blooming Weigela, which is nice. It is not going to stay here. I am going to have to move this. It's right on the corner of the driveway, and I don't know. I don't want it out here. Out front, I started dropping off some pumpkins in all the normal locations. Got the big 57 pounder out here, one of them. Then I got some gourds, snake gourds. These are the late gladiolas that came up. They're looking good. Got the marigolds blooming below them. That starfish gourd there looks good. Up up. Got these annual burning bushes all fluffy, and I think they'll be taking color here real soon. Got that hedge of ranunculus coxcomb. I keep saying ranunculus, but that is coxcomb. And it looks real good. Even from a distance, you can actually see the color because there's so much of it. Hits you. Plus the yellow down there and the sunflowers and the rudbeckia, black-eyed Susan. Gorgeous this year. We got the grass and the nice big sedum in here. That's actually so big, it's splitting. So whenever your perennials do this, you know it's time to dig them up, split them up, and get some multiple plants out of them because it's just too big, way too big. If you look real close at the burning bush, you can see it's starting to flower, starting to catch fire. It's hard to see. You can just see it barely, so I know it's coming. Got the knockout roses out here with the volunteer sunflower looking good. Got the jungle garden out here this year. It's got the variegated canna lilies. Got the elephant ears. More canna lilies, orange, red, yellow. The balloon flower down here. It'll get bigger. I think it's just a cool looking flower. A little different, simple. Got the cardinal vine going way up the tree. Got my dead lilac tree working as a trellis. Turned her into an apple tree. Apple gourd tree, that is. Got the purple hyacinth bean vine growing. It's got the little beans forming now after it flowers. You can husk these open once they swell up, just like green beans or lima beans. Really close to a lima bean. But yeah, they'll swell up, and once they get swollen and dried, you can see this one's starting to dry. Oh, one fell already. Like I said, it just rained, so this is a horrible time to collect seeds. So don't do it right now. But yeah, it climbed all the way up. You can see the blooms up there. Nice pretty purple blooms. Got more hostas blooming under the mailbox. Got the gourds laying out here out front. Got the marigold row. And the front's looking okay. Needs a lot of work for next year. Gotta clean up these watermelons. They're about done. Clean up that blueberries, tomato that sprawled out there. Just get the whole area cleaned up for the fall. There's a lot of stuff in here that's not going to be doing anything or any better. But over on the other side of the driveway, we have a cool little sunflower that volunteered in a awesome spot right under that blue spruce. How cool is that? The coleus over here, I don't know what it was called, but the bumblebees love coleus, even though it's got tiny flowers. They love it. Volunteer marigold right in the middle of my path. More hostas blooming in the fall, which is new to me. I didn't realize hostas bloomed in the early summer and fall, but I'll take it. The impatiens are still pushing off a ton of color out here too, which is just perfect. I have another rising sun red bud out here now, and we'll come into the perennial garden, which is now just completely overtaken by weeds. I don't really know which weed that is, but it's a good 6 feet, 6.5 feet tall, and it's just about to bloom. It's going to be a complete mess if I don't get in there and stop it, but so it's probably going to be a big mess. Cleome's looking good. All this pretty purple spider flower, some people call it, because how intricate the seed pods can get just reaching off there. I love it. So like again, I'll be harvesting these seeds once it's a nice dry day. You can see how they swell up. Be a prime candidate here come some dry days. This sedum, it's not actually flopping like the other one. This one actually got crushed by a giant maple tree trunk, so yeah, we have a video on that you can go back and check out, but this one's actually recovering very well. Got a nice hibiscus here that's all beat up from the rain. Sorry I didn't get out here before it rained, but I was working, so it's still a nice sunny time to be walking through the garden though. Jump up. Puppy left his golf ball and he wants me to get it. Okay, go. Zinnias are blooming real nice in there too, and then just a ton more weeds. Zinnias, morning glories, and here is another beautiful sedum coming up. Just gorgeous. See, this is the size it's supposed to be. Maybe one more year, it'll probably flop in the center. See how it's really reaching out? It's not as dense. A lot of times these clusters will be real tight together, but you can see it's kind of floppy with the rain. Made all the pom-poms heavier. Got some hollyhocks over here that are dropping seed, and I'm just letting them reseed willy-nilly as they may, and hopefully I get a real big patch of hollyhocks all over the place. Forgot to show this last week, but the yew is showing berries. Just gorgeous. I love having an evergreen with berries, so love having a yew. I'll definitely be getting more yews here in the near future, so I can start growing them out, and then I'll be able to shape them later. See, we've been getting some thunderstorms and getting some wind out of our big maple. We always get a bunch of dead branches coming out of here, always blowing and falling out of there. This is the sweet autumn clematis that I was standing by in the beginning. Gorgeous, just really filled out this year. This is the first year plant, so it was actually in small like quart or gallon pot, something like that. Probably a gallon pot. And I planted it there and it just took off. 6 feet, easy now. plenty, probably 4 feet wide. Got the roses still blooming in front, looking good. Might be doing a succulent video here in the future. Stay tuned for that. Here is that giant pepper I told you about. Looking awesome. Real big. Sitting out here with my eggplant harvest and some banana peppers, bell peppers, okra. Got a bunch of cherries and gherkins in there. Some of these long green beans that were down on the raised bed. And then I pulled up some roots, some carrots, some parsnips, some beets. Yeah. So we'll be using these up. The goldfish pond's still going out here. They're all in there. They're just hiding right now. The roots on that elephant ear have been ridiculous. If you want to see that video whenever I was moving the Oscar over. Oh, there's the goldfish. Whenever I was moving the Oscar out of this pond, I had to tear this whole thing apart and pull that elephant ear out, so you get to see all the roots in that video. And it's crazy how big it got through the holes of the drainage holes of that pot. Out here on the bank, the marigolds, French dwarf marigolds, are still blooming. Even that pink zinnia is still blooming, even though it's split completely in the center. So if that happens to your zinnia, if it completely splits off like that and breaks, falls over, don't worry about it. It'll keep growing. Speaking of volunteer gourds, just leave those go too. Sometimes you get some weird fruit, some beat up fruit, but you get something, and I think that's cool. I need to pull these cow lilies out of here still, and I already took out a lot of marigolds because those crackerjack marigolds were dying back. I remembered that name that time. I got to pull both of those cow lilies out of there, and look at the dahlia. I'm trying to get one bloom out of this dahlia this year. It was the centerpiece of the whole garden, and yeah, still waiting on that bloom. We got some French dwarf marigolds still holding on out here. Park's double petunias from Park Seeds, and then we got the zinnias in the back looking good. Some cosmos in the back, more zinnias and petunias down at the bottom. The portulaca is pretty much done, but the zinnias are still holding this end of the area together. We got some rain, so the river rock's filling up with water. That's not much, so it usually fills up the whole stone, and all the stone are covered. We'll be pulling these hostas out too whenever we make the koi pond out here. So stick around this winter for whenever we start doing the koi pond. I'll try and get as much footage as we can and work through the whole process as we go along. Alright, thanks for coming along with me and Echo this week to see the gardens and see how they're doing this time of year. I tried to keep it quick because we got things to do. Hump up. He just wants to play, but you can see me and Echo on the next one. Thanks for watching.